Is your home an ADT home? If not, listen up, gang. You need to get ADT to help protect against break-ins, fire, and even carbon monoxide. And now, for a limited time, get ADT's lowest rate, starting at just $28.99 a month from the most trusted name in home security. That's just $1 a day. You spend way more than $1 on your morning coffee. ADT is the first security company to help keep you safe at home and when you're on the go with the new ADT Go app. ADT Go has some great features like family locator, private messaging, automatic check-ins, and safe driving reports. It even includes an SOS button with 24/7 emergency response. And if you need more of a reason to buy, you get ADT Go with a purchase of any security system. Seriously, guys, it's a great deal. Protect yourself and your family right now. Go to ADT.com/podcast to take advantage of ADT's lowest rate. ADT, tested, trusted, proven with 36-month monitoring contract. Early termination and installation fees apply. Excludes taxes and fees. Applies to traditional services only. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com. To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com. Listen up, people. We got a big favor to ask, and we promise it won't take too much of your time. You know our show is supported by some fantastic sponsors, right? Well, we'd love to hear your feedback. Head to ESPNPodcastStudy.com and fill out a short, anonymous survey. That's it. We swear. No more. Again, that's ESPNPodcastStudy.com. Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Welcome into another edition of Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2 and the ESPN app. Glad you're with us. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike Golic, Trey Wingo here, as we are officially now ensconced in full LeBron watch. We have officially gotten here, Mike, because the NBA regular season awards finally happened. Last night,
yes.
7 months after the regular season, I believe, was over. So now we're steamrolling toward that deadline where by Friday we will know one way or the other what's going on with this guy.
From the beaches of L.A. to Houston. From Boston to the Bay. And to Cleveland. This is LeBron Watch.
We're in, because we got to know by Friday. We got to know by Friday.
Absolutely so wrong. I'm checking out a lot of the red carpet from last night. Some traditional tuxedos and then some non-traditional stuff out there as well. James Harden had a really it was a pretty cool outfit, quite honestly, and he was obviously the star of the night, as we'll get into with the MVP award. But yeah, we're going to hear from Brian Windhorst today, one of our guests, about the timeline for LeBron and choosing this time.
Apparently it's speeding up, Michael.
We had a TV show one time. We had a magazine another time on the decision. I think this is going to be pretty low key.
Yes.
I think some things come with age.
Yes, exactly.
Where you get a little older and you're like, I'm not sure why I did all that way back when.
I'll let you know.
I'll
fire off a text.
With age comes a little bit of wisdom. You do things a little bit differently and say, okay, we'll let y'all know a little sooner rather than later this time around, which is probably good for the teams that are going after him that aren't going to get him. You can move on. Bad for shows like ours that could use the content.
Oh, listen, we're all about it. we want to drink it in. There's no question about that. So, again, here's what we got coming up a little later on. You said Brian Windhorst will join us today. Maybe we'll spin the wheel with Brian, see what he thinks about some of the cases that we have laid out audio-wise for LeBron James to go to different teams. Shaka Hislop, former World Cup goalie, will join us today. Huge day. I won't give it away, but it was a huge day and potential big moves in the standings in our World Cup fantasy draft.
Whatever.
And then Florida man Jeff Darlington will join us in the 8 o'clock hour East Coast time as he tries to figure out what exactly is going on with this Julian Edelman appeal. Plus, Granddaddy Archie Manning will join us. The hierarchy, the patriarch of the Manning family as the Manning Passing Academy.
Yeah, that's always a monster weekend, a monster thing for the Manning family and what they do in the big-time college quarterbacks that go down there for it. So haven't spoken to him in a while. It'd be good to talk to him as his son's all-time passing yardage record is going to get passed probably around, Game 5 or so this year
potentially
with Drew
Game
Brees.
5 on Monday Night Football. And by the way, If you don't like the Patriots dynasty, thank Archie Manning, because his son saved you from 5 more Super Bowl rings.
How
the
about
Patriots. They could have one for each thumb were it not for the Manning offspring. And then we'll have Bruce Arena, former U.S. men's national team manager, in to talk about what's going on in the World Cup. And we'll see what happens with there. It has been very exciting this summer. But let's get going, as we always do, with what's trending. And we start with James Harden being named MVP. He's the third Rocket to win the MVP in the NBA, joining Hakeem and Moses Malone. The Rockets joined the Celtics 4, Lakers 4, and the 76ers 4 as the fourth franchise to boast 3 different players to win MVP.
Also, think about this. Think about the Oklahoma City Thunder. They drafted 3 MVPs.
Correct. And
James
only one
Harden
of them is still there.
Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing what's going on there. But Harden, everybody thought he was going to win it. So much so, LeBron wasn't even at the award ceremony last night. He took his earlier vacation because he's got that big decision coming up. So he was not at the ceremony last night. But he does win the MVP. We're going to get into some of the other awards. Rudy Gobert won Defensive Player of the Year. Lou Williams won Sixth Man again.
Yeah, again.
He won it in 2015 with Toronto. And Victor Oladipo was Most Improved. A couple other awards that we'll talk about as well.
When you look at the numbers, and I've been very obvious about this.
Oh,
where
yeah.
I stand. I mean, I feel like LeBron James is being judged against himself at this point.
Oh, no, this is the
right?
Michael Jordan thing.
Yeah, I mean, look at Jay Williams tweeted out a text or tweet yesterday that said congrats, and then he listed all these stats. It didn't feel like it was congrats to James Harden. He put a point-by-point, face-by-face comparison. Points, LeBron had more. Rebounds, LeBron doubled, basically. Assists, 100 plus more. LeBron shot 54% from the floor. Harden 44.9. They both shot the same from 3. He played more minutes. He played all games, and he had 14 more triple doubles. But again, congrats to James Harden.
Yeah. I mean, Harden led the league in scoring, so
Yes.
a little over 30 points a game. So we knew it was going to go this way, or everybody had the thought it was going to go this way, and the thought is that it's the Michael Jordan effect. But I do think, boy, this could have been LeBron's best year. First time playing 82 games, playing all the games, obviously what he did in the postseason, how the team transformed after the trade deadline. But again, it's the Michael Jordan effect, so it doesn't shock anybody. Fans also voted for some of these awards, and the fan vote for Player of the Year was LeBron James. Yeah,
look, it's the question always becomes, what is the word MVP, or what does that acronym mean to you? Usually it means the guy that had the best year on the best team. That's usually what it means.
A lot of times it goes down that way, yes.
But if that V word means something to me, valuable, and I'm not saying James Harden wasn't valuable to the Rockets, but they had other people that could offset it when he had a bad night. There's no doubt in my mind that no one player brought more value to his team than LeBron James of the Cavs.
We can have a discussion on that, because I go the other way. I don't put valuable on it, because they always say, take him off the team. Well, take Harden off the team. And they wouldn't have been in the conference finals.
Well, let me put it this way. I hear what you're saying, but there was a playoff game that they won by 20 points when James Harden went 3 of 18 from the floor. And LeBron James goes 3 of 18. The Cavs lose by 700 points.
I get it. I get it. They would have a lot more losses, but I go on the best player for that year. Yeah. And I don't look at, because you take any great player off their team, they're not going to be nearly as good as they were.
I get that, but to me, look, I just thought this was LeBron James' best year.
Yeah, well, that's tough to deny.
What he was able to do with that support. I mean, they changed that team 4 times. 4 times. And they still somehow, some way got themselves to the NBA Finals. LeBron James did for the 8th straight year. So congratulations to James Harden.
Absolutely.
Although I think LeBron was MVP. Well, in what was the other hotly contested vote, Philadelphia's Ben Simmons beat out Utah's Donovan Mitchell for Rookie of the Year in what many felt was a tightly contested event. Simmons walks away with it. Surprised?
Well, did you see the car, the van that rolled up with Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah, I don't think that's doing him any favors.
Yeah, well, you know what? They were playing along with this thing. How much was people were actually playing? How much they were actually serious? Again, the whole thing of Ben Simmons missing last year, so he was still considered a rookie this year, and that kind of came up into play, talking back and forth. But Simmons wins it. You look at what Donovan Mitchell was doing in the playoffs, and you go, wow, but you can't, because it's a regular season award. So I have no problem with Simmons getting that award. And I would say, and he even in his acceptance speech was, even though the media and others were bringing up, and quite honestly, it was Donovan Mitchell that was bringing that stuff up.
Yeah. And here's the other thing I think that sort of messed up Donovan Mitchell's argument. If he had just said, look at my numbers, I mean, look at what he was able to do.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Look at what he was able to do on this team that went into the playoffs and being the leading scorer as a rookie. I think that was a much more compelling argument for Donovan Mitchell than he's not really a rookie thing. You know what I mean? Which I thought was kind of interesting. But either way, Ben Simmons won the award and was happy to walk away with the hardware.
Yeah, for me, I'm obviously happy I won the award, so I try not to let, the media hype things up or fans or whatever it is just because I know, I'm doing what I love and I did what I could on the floor. And obviously it was enough, and that doesn't take anything away from Jason or Donovan. They had excellent, amazing, tremendous season, and what they were able to accomplish was great. I mean, if I played last year, one of them would have had it.
So again, taking nothing away from them, but I'm taking the hardware.
And talking about how, great players they were and then how the media, hyped this thing up. It was Donovan Mitchell who hyped this thing up.
Exactly right.
I didn't want to, that wasn't the spot for him to take the shot. And you look at Utah, I mean, they were very close to having the rookie of the year in Mitchell, had the defensive player of the year in Rudy Gobert. Pretty impressive. They've done.
And then the other thing we have to admit, if it was really put in the playoffs, Jason Tatum probably would have ran away with the award, right?
Jason Tatum was unbelievable in the playoffs, but again, playoffs didn't count in this.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, Ben Simmons was Rookie of the Year and favorited going into the vote, so he protected the lead. Protecting the lead is brought to you by ADT. Considering home security, consider this. For 140 years, ADT has helped stop more crime than any other home security company. Visit ADT.com to learn more. All right, we continue what's trending, and it's that time for an update on the World Cup. Hey! So here's what we got. Argentina will advance to the knockout stage of the 2018 FIFA World Cup with a win over Nigeria today and a Croatia win or draw against Iceland. Now, a loss or draw would eliminate Messi and company from the competition, while it could come down to tiebreakers if both Argentina and Iceland win. So in other words, Argentina is on thin ice land.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so bad.
Well done.
That was terrible.
Meaning Messi could be done.
Correct.
I mean, it's
thank you.
Really been a struggle there for Argentina and certainly Messi. But let's not forget, because I'm not going to, because I have Nigeria in my draft.
You're not forgetting.
Nigeria, who's playing against Argentina, they advance with a win over Argentina and can even advance with a draw depending on how the Iceland-Croatia game shakes out as well. Denmark takes on France also at 10 o'clock. Denmark advances with a win or draw against France or an Australian loss or draw against Peru. France, one of my teams, is already in. Australia and Peru play at 10 o'clock. Peru is out already, as I mentioned. Australia advances with a win and a Denmark loss, and Australia must win the tiebreaker, and then Iceland and Croatia. Croatia is already through to the knockout. Iceland advances to a win against Croatia and a Nigeria loss or draw and win a tiebreaker against a couple of what is it, Argentina and Nigeria. Right. So, yeah, follow that along.
Exactly.
I mean, my gosh.
Thanks for breaking that down.
Yeah, well, it's kind of my job.
Bottom line here, Bottom
yeah.
line is we had some controversy yesterday
in
both the Spain-Morocco match and the Portugal-Iran match. Video replay, basically a huge factor in both of these matches becoming draws. Spain got a late goal that was allowed because of video replay, and I think Iran was denied a goal late that allowed replay.
Yeah, and Iran had a chance to get this game to a late goal in this one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and dude went right outside the post, just missed. You mentioned Spain, though. Game tying, 1 minute into extra time, awarded by video after initial offside. They got that one right. It was initially an offside call. They looked at it, and it wasn't offside. And also for Portugal, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Right.
They went to replay on him. There was a guy trying to wall him. He got in front of him and kind of forearmed him in the face. They thought a red card was coming for that one.
Exactly.
He ended up getting a yellow card on review after that one as well. But replay becoming very, very prominent in this World Cup.
Do you like that or do you not like it? Because to me, what I enjoy about it is it doesn't take much time. I mean, they go back, they look at it, and whether you agree with it or not, they make the decision and they move on. The exact opposite is the interminable process sometimes in the NFL.
Here's the biggest thing, though. They're replaying subjective calls.
Yes.
You know, where we talk about don't do that, like it went nuts in the Lakers or the Cavaliers and the Warriors on the
in
block
game one of the
charge.
NBA, yeah.
You know, wait a minute, you're deciding whether it was a foul or not. Football, they don't do that if it was holding interference or not. This is, you look at the Neymar call, at first you call it a penalty, then you look and you say more of a flop, not a penalty. But I guess that's their way, of being able to check if somebody is flopping or not, and not give somebody the benefit of the doubt just on the initial call. In all honesty, I haven't really decided whether I like it or not. At this point, I'm leaning toward not. Sometimes I think it can be used too much, and there was plenty of it used yesterday.
I just like the fact that they make a decision quickly.
They do. I will give them that, yeah.
Let's not stop this thing for 7 minutes and do all the other stuff. So the one thing that I think they're doing well is they go to it, and they're decisive with it.
I will give them that. It doesn't take a long time. And I love how they tell you they're going to it. The ref stands there and makes like the square.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to look at a TV.
The picture box
screen.
is where my eyes will be going.
That's where I'm going right now. To your point, they do it in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
So that is good.
But more importantly, time to check the standings.
Standings are out.
Big day for me. 4 points, Mike.
Yep.
By the way, 4 points, the exact opposite way I thought I would get them. I thought for sure I'd get 3 with Spain and then maybe a draw between Saudi Arabia and Egypt. And somehow Saudi Arabia beats Egypt and Spain and Morocco are level.
5 minutes into stoppage time, Saudi Arabia gets that winning goal.
That was
saved you
one.
there. Morocco saved me a point by getting that draw with Spain where you thought you were going to get your 3. So you're winning with 30 points.
Yep.
Mike and Devin have 26. I have 25, and the staff has 20.
The staff is toast at this point.
Yeah, they absolutely.
Because you have 3 people through.
I have 3 in,
teams.
and I can possibly get Nigeria in as well, so I can get 4 in.
I have Spain and England in for sure. Mexico is not officially in, but they've got 6 points. It would be almost impossible for them not to get in. So that's 3, and I still have a chance for either Iceland or Japan to get in. So I have the potential for 4, which would be tremendous.
Yes, it would.
Meanwhile, we go from football back to American baseball, and the Yankees continue to do what the Yankees are doing. They beat the Phillies 4-2 to snap a season-long 3-game losing streak. Aaron Judge hit his 20th home run of the season, his 7th on the road, and the Yankees are now a half game up on Boston in the AL East.
We just talked about the Phillies yesterday and how well they had been playing. Now they're losing 2 in a row now after this loss, but still, the Yankees are doing it with that long ball with Judge getting his 20th home run, as you mentioned, 7th on the road. We're going to be talking about this the entire time after the trade deadline. We'll get a trade, but then just the back and forth of the Yankees and the Red Sox. So it'll be a daily thing.
It'll be a daily thing, and we'll play it all the way probably to the end of the season, where one of these 2 teams that's probably going to win 100 games will face a 1-game playoff to keep their postseason hopes alive. Okay, we tried to tell you not to do this yesterday. But they're doing it anyway. Laker fan Jacob Imrani told ESPN's Om Yamasuk that he bought over 40 billboards to help bring LeBron James and Paul George to Los Angeles. Armani is a longtime Lakers season ticket holder who put up 4 billboards recruiting LeBron James to the Lakers back in March. Now tells ESPN he's paid for over 40 around Los Angeles, even though LeBron has said, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Not going to help. Won't matter.
And this cost him.
Yeah.
Billboards on average cost between $5,000 and $25,000 each, depending on the location, and he put up 40.
Yeah.
You want to talk about, listen, your money.
It's disposable income, right?
That's
the definition of it.
Spend it how you want, but that seems like an awful waste of money.
It does.
And especially if how about if they don't come there, you've really wasted. If they do come there, you're going to take credit.
Yeah.
And say, oh, it's my billboards that did it. Yeah. When it's not. You just threw away
You just threw away cash, and congratulations to you.
There you go. Glad you have it to throw away.
Exactly. Why don't you just burn it in cigar wrappers and do it the same way? It's going to have the same effect.
Or give it to me.
There you go. Okay. Give it to you?
What?
Really? To you? Mr. Moneybags, you're 6'3", but you're 6'5" when you sit on your paycheck.
To us, then.
Okay, fine.
Give it to us.
I'm
Is that better?
That. Yeah,
okay,
much
good.
better.
There you go.
Much better. Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive Insurance. Commercial insurance through Progressive protects your business and your dream. Choose from over 30 coverage options at progressivecommercial.com. So let's dive back into this NBA debate one more time here. You and I are both, well, you're okay with Harden winning the award, right?
I mean, listen, I understand it just because I've seen this happen in the past.
Yeah.
The best player in the world is LeBron James.
Yeah.
But we vote for an MVP every year. What kind of year does a person have? And usually it's the best player on the best team. Yeah. And the Rockets were that in the regular season. And Harden was the best player on that team in the regular season. And I lived through what went on. We both did what went on with Michael Jordan when we were saying the same thing. Michael Jordan's the best player on the planet. And he's not going to win the MVP.
Right. So he's judged against himself. Mm-hmm. I thought that he had the stronger case for being strictly on the word valuable to his team. And here's Ryan Hollins. Hot take Hollins, by the way. on my side here.
See, James Harden, I love what he did, but he didn't work in chaos. He didn't carry, literally on his shoulders, on his back, carry his team to the NBA Finals. And, of course, they weren't the number one seed. I understand. They didn't achieve what the Rockets as a team did. You want to call them the best regular season team? I'm fine with that. But as a player, James Harden did not do what LeBron James did this season.
And that convention. Yeah, there you go.
Listen,
the Ryan Hollins hot take.
I agree with it.
There.
It's a regular season award, though, and they won 50 games, did Cleveland, and the Rockets won 65 games in a tougher conference over in the Western Conference. So, I mean, I get it. I understand why it went to Harden. I absolutely, even though what LeBron did, it could have been his best season because of how old he is and playing all the games and doing what he did with all the different parts he had on that team. I understand all that, but no, I don't have a problem at all that Harden gets it.
Look, I'm not going to it's not going to ruin my day that James Harden got the MVP. I just think if you look at the data empirically, I think that what LeBron was able to do with that team around him, reshaped 4 times with the things around him, I felt like he added more value than anybody ever did.
Yeah, I don't look at anything empirically because I don't really know how to.
There you go.
And then I think
who you are, baby.
The interesting thing of the night was that Dwayne Casey winning Coach of the Year.
Oh, we will get into that.
So go ahead and go celebrate with Toronto. Oh, that's right. You can't because they fired you.
Yeah, but at least the Raptors this time, because this is the second award Dwayne Casey has won. At least this time they didn't congratulate him on Twitter by saying, "Congrats, coach." No. He's not your coach anymore. You decided to fire him. But classy that you wanted to congratulate him, but you can't call him your coach because he's not your coach.
Not your coach.
Because you fired him.
You guys fired him.
It makes no sense at all. All right, coming up, one NFL Hall of Famer says no matter what happened with Julian Edelman's test and procedures that might have been broken, it doesn't matter. He still should be penalized. And another player thinks midway through his 50s, Mike, he could still play in the NFL.
Oh, boy. Is your home an ADT home? If not, you have to get ADT and help protect against break-ins, fire, and carbon monoxide. For a limited time, get ADT's lowest rate starting at just $28.99 a month from the most trusted name in home security. Go to ADT.com/podcast to take advantage of ADT's lowest rate.
With 36-month monitoring contract, early termination and installation fees apply. Excludes taxes and fees. Applies to traditional services only. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, as well as the ESPN app, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. So we've got this situation, Mike, that's evolving with Julian Edelman.
Yes, we do.
He had his appeal of his 4-game suspension yesterday, basically claiming, look, you guys say I tested positive for something, yet you don't know what I tested positive for. It was a substance that you guys were not aware of,
right,
or unsure of. And then secondly, there are chain of command issues. We call this the Ryan Braun defense.
There you go. It's exactly right. Those are the two main issues in Julian Edelman's defense in his appeal yesterday. So the appeal was heard. Now we just wait for the judgment. But, of course, people weigh in with their opinions.
That's exactly right.
Heavy-hitting people.
Exactly. Including our Hall of Famer. I call him the Commander-in-Chief. Bill Polian, of course, 6-time NFL Executive of the Year, basically said while leading credence to what Julian was saying, there's a bottom-line threshold that he thinks is going to be a problem for Edelman.
The question now is, on appeal, which every player has a right to do, are they going to argue chain of custody? Are they going to argue that it's outside the 4 corners, whatever this substance may be? That's really, the chain of custody is a dicey argument. Everybody argues that. The only one I ever knew that won it was Richard Sherman in 2012. The unknown substance is a little more unknown. It's interesting. Let's follow and see how it goes. But it's important to remember that the bedrock guideline of the policy is a player is responsible himself for everything he puts in his body. No excuses.
And I think that's going to be a hard one to win on appeal.
100% agree. And I said that all along. You know what the lists are. You know what the products are that you get tested for, including masking agents. You know all of that. So anything you buy, you have to be aware of. And when you buy in places where it's not listed, you're rolling the dice. So you are responsible for that. In my opinion, the team you play for, if you're working out and that strength coach is responsible, if you give him something and say, hey, is this okay, for them to help you in knowing that as well. If it's your team guy, no trusting anybody else with that. But at the end of the day, you are responsible for what you put in your body. Now, the next thing I would ask Bill is, Bill, if you had to take a drug test and they came up and said, Bill, you tested positive. I did for what? Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
How would you take that?
I'd be a little curious. I guess,
again, unless there's more to this one that I'm just not getting, and remember, this is all supposed to be confidential.
Correct.
And we're not supposed to know it. That would be my question.
Yep.
You've tested positive, and there's a chance you could be suspended. Really? Man, I've had so many tests already, as Edelman has, and never tested positive. What did I test positive for? And we're not sure.
Yeah.
It's
something we didn't see.
Something we're not sure about. I'd be damn mad as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that one goes. And then, of course, the chain of custody, the Ryan Braun defense.
Right.
We have to see.
And that leads us to this, and I thought this was an interesting take from Dominique Foxworth. By the way, one of the greatest names of all time. Dominique Foxworth. Works for the Undefeated, obviously played many, many years in the NFL and was very involved with the NFLPA when he was playing. Basically said, look, if there's a reasonable doubt issue, that doubt sometimes is not less on the player, but more on the NFL for things we've seen in the past.
I think it's interesting. It's problematic, frankly, that these things continue to leak. And the idea that they don't know what he tested positive for, but he tested positive, I feel like there's some benefit of the doubt that's owed to Edelman, because he pointed out that he has never tested positive for anything before. And I don't know that the NFL deserves the same benefit of the doubt given their issues with discipline in the past.
I listen, and I agree what he's saying, because the NFL certainly has had their share of bumps in the road.
Yeah.
But again, I'm going to go to, do you need benefit of the doubt here? If you can't tell me, if you can't first say to me, well, something's wrong with your test, and then at some point, if you can't give me a definitive answer
on what that is,
there's very small part of me that says, okay, you're telling me my test was off a little bit, but you can't specify what it is. I'm a little shaky on that, but the league is taking some latitude with that and saying, okay, this is something we recognize. We need to look more at it. But they've already gone to the point of suspending him for 4 games. Have they told him, do we know what this is? So I don't even know what there's a need for the benefit of the doubt. If you can't specifically tell me or show me where I did this wrong, where something is elevated that's not even on your list and I'm suspended for it, this is still, I have to be missing something. I have to be missing something and if I am, somebody tell me. God knows I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But what is it? You tested positive for something that we don't know that you tested positive for. Yeah, it sounds ridiculous.
That's a hard one for me to get around here more than anything else, because what I can't figure out, how can you say you tested positive and then give them the suspension and then add on, we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
To me, it would make more sense. Hey, there's something weird with your test. We want to just take a look at it further.
Exactly right.
Then we'll figure that out.
And then we'll figure out.
It seems like they're putting the cart before the horse.
Well,
here.
without a doubt. I mean, and I was getting tweets when we first talked about this. Well, obviously he had elevated levels of something. Of what?
Of what?
I'm still waiting.
Yeah.
If it's elevated levels of testosterone, okay, I get it. I mean, that's on I get it. But of what? You can't just say we don't recognize it and then, in my opinion, suspend him.
Yeah.
Again, unless there's something that we don't know. And as Dominique Foxworth said, this is supposed to be a private matter. Well, so that maybe there is information that we don't know about that.
Again, as we continue on this, it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. So the issue then becomes, Mike, as I look forward to this, we as football fans lose one way or the other, no matter what happens with this appeal. Let me explain. Let's say, for example, Edelman does not get his appeal.
Doesn't win his appeal, he's suspended 4 games.
4-game suspension. Then all we're going to hear, that league, man, look, they're out to get the Patriots.
Oh yeah, look what they did to Brady. How long they took
Brady.
With the Deflategate.
They've got him with Spygate. This is ridiculous. This is just another example. They're out to get the Patriots. Now, let's say, for example, Edelman wins his appeal. You know what we're going to hear? Oh, man, they just want Brady in the Super Bowl every year. They want to give him all.
So no win.
That's the hard part for us, is that no matter how this goes down, it's either going to be, see, the league hates the Patriots, or it's going to be like, well, the league loves the Patriots, and there's no way around that one.
No, there isn't. It's exactly what's going to happen.
And that's the biggest problem. Okay, so let's take this one step further down the road. Let's say he does miss those first 4 games. What does that mean for the Patriots? Once again, here's Bill Polian.
They have Hogan. They have Rashard Matthews. They've got, Malcolm Mitchell, to me, is an unknown quantity. He's not on the field enough to you hear his name at this time of year. Seems like for every year, and then he disappears. But they've got enough. And most importantly, they have Gronk.
You know, this is an interesting one, Mike, because I'm not sure I agree with Bill here. I don't think with the loss of Brandon Cooks and some other things that have gone on this offseason, I'm not sure if this receiving core is the receiving core we've seen over the last few years for the Patriots, especially if Edelman, who is there, because Amendola's gone.
Yeah.
You know, he's their glue guy. So basically it's Hogan, Cordero Patterson, and returning Malcolm Mitchell from injury. This does not sound like the same Patriot receiving core we've seen over the last few years if Edelman isn't there.
You know who you're going to keep an eye on? Braxton Berrios.
Yeah.
The kid from Miami. Who just could not fit he's 5'9", 183. Amendola, Edelman, Berrios.
Yeah.
I mean, dude's going to go in the slot, and he's going to get the opportunity to catch that 5-yard pass. Now, we'll see. He's a rookie, so I'm not going to sit there and anoint him and say, he's going to get the job done, right? But he's a cookie cutter to that position that they've had there. Their first 4 games, by the way, for the first 2, pretty tough defensively. They're home to Houston, and then they're at Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Then they're at Detroit, and then home to Miami. So just one, as far as division games, just one. That would be Miami. And listen, I mean, what do you sit there and say about them? They went, 3-1? When Brady missed 4 games?
With 3 different quarterbacks.
Last year they were in the Super Bowl. Edelman wasn't there.
Yeah.
They won a Super Bowl without Gronk.
Yep.
So, I mean, they can do this.
They're resilient.
I'm not really too worried about that. It is as I said, 2 very, very tough defensive. You look at Houston, all the players they're getting back from injury on the defensive side of the ball.
Whitney Merciless, J.J. Watt.
Stacked. And then, of course, Jacksonville's defense is fantastic. So, we'll see. We'll see how they come out of the gate with that. But they always seem to be able to find somebody to fit the mold or game plan to make up for if they think that's going to be a deficiency.
Look, more on the actual test here. I mean, if he tested positive, is it possible that what they found, and we haven't seen this in any of the articles yet,
no,
that they found elevated levels of testosterone, but then they haven't figured out yet why those elevated levels.
But your elevated level, that's a positive test.
Right.
If it's over a threshold, that's a positive test then. So
yeah.
That's it for you, right?
Right. So maybe
there's a threshold of testosterone.
Yes.
If you're over that, you're going to trigger a positive test.
Yeah, because maybe that's that's the missing piece in what we're talking about here, right? Maybe, okay, the test was a positive one for elevated levels of testosterone, yet we haven't been able to find the thing that made your testosterone level.
If that's the case, then so be it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it then because there's a level of testosterone.
Yeah.
And if you're above that, then I get it. You want to figure out what it was that did it. Okay, I understand that, but at least I have a guideline then of it was testosterone that was elevated.
But normally they say that.
Normally they do. And again, we're not supposed to know any of this, so maybe that's just information that hasn't come out.
Yeah.
But when you read, he tested positive for something, the drug people haven't identified.
Yeah.
Okay. That really leaves a gray area.
It does.
But that would solve it. If you tell me it's elevated testosterone and they're trying to figure out what caused it, I understand there's a threshold for testosterone.
That seems to make a lot more sense.
It would make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
It would end my talk about that one.
Yes.
And then you'd go to the handling part of it and see if everything was done correctly there.
And we'll see if he can pull the Ryan Braun defense off.
Right.
And that was Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. Coming up, we know that dogs are man's best friend.
Yep.
And we don't deserve dogs.
No, we do not.
But wait till you see what one dog is willing to do to try and save somebody in Madrid. You won't believe this trick. Plus, an NBA Coach of the Year got fired. Is there something wrong with that? Especially when he was the Coach of the Year twice.
Washing my nose, oh yeah.
I'm a shower curtain, and I do one thing. Keep water from leaking everywhere. So you see why I feel useless compared to Geico, who does so much more. Like, not only could Geico save you money, but they've been around for over 75 years. And they give you 24/7 access online, over the phone, or on the Geico app. And they've got a 97% customer satisfaction rating. They do all this while I have to listen to this chucklehead. Oh, good, he stopped.
Washing my toes.
Oh, great, an encore.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Golic and Wingo with you. We are presented by Progressive Insurance, and all phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. So as we talked about yesterday, the ESPN, the magazine, the body issue.
Yes, it did.
Right? And obviously there's some very fine bodies.
Very impressive bodies.
On display, including a couple of former athletes. Greg Norman at 63.
Looked incredible.
Unbelievable.
Looked incredible.
And then Jerry Rice at 55.
Yeah.
Looks insane.
He's 55?
He's 55.
55, that's right.
At the age of 55. He's your age, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he looks great, and he's talking about his workouts and all this kind of stuff. But, Mike, then he did this.
Yeah, he did.
I still feel like today, if I wanted to come back to football and play football, I could do it at the age of 55. And he went on.
Yeah, he didn't just stop there and say, hey, I can go give you a couple plays.
Yeah, which would have been okay, maybe. Mm-hmm. But then he adds, I'm one of those guys that still believe if I wanted to, I could come back, catch over 80 balls, and really be productive on the field. I think I'm still explosive. I think I can still beat up on some defenses.
Wow.
Mike, I leave the floor to you.
I mean, you know, again, if he were to just stop there, because as I've always said, people always say, do you miss the, you know, do you miss football? Do you miss playing? I said, would you still like to play? I said, listen, if I had to, I could put on a uniform and I could go out of field on Sunday and I could give you 3 plays.
Yep.
One, I would get knocked over. The second one, I would get buried. The third, I would get carted off the field.
Yep.
Okay. But I could go out there and play on a Sunday.
Correct.
And give you 3 plays. Okay. So to say you could play to go out and get a little, but then to say you could get 80 catches. I mean, listen,
come on.
Jerry Rice, and he talks, the interview, it talks about, this is based off how he's still working out now. He changes up muscle group workouts. He looks great. And
wonderful.
He's always had,
all this is great stuff.
Always had legendary workouts as well, as do a ton of players. To get ready for their craft in any sport, you have to work extremely hard. And he could go down, not as the greatest wide receiver, he's that by far. He could go down, he may be the greatest football player.
He's been voted the number 1 football player of all time.
Play the game. Usually
in a previous
between
poll.
him and Jim Brown, it's
Correct.
usually been back and forth with those two guys. But I'm sorry. 55 years old, to think you can play a season, have 80 catches, you'd get hurt. You get broken in half. It's just not going to. Even though I know receivers are protected a little more today, there's no way your body could withstand that pounding. I don't believe. Now, is he one in a billion that could? Who knows? You can't sit there and say no, but let me tell you what.
No.
If I had to bet,
I'm going to say
if
no.
I had to bet any kind of money against it, I would bet against him every time on this. I mean, we have, how old is T.O.? Talking about still
he's
playing.
In his early 40s.
Early 40s, saying, and listen, he looks like he's in fantastic shape. Plus, we do have a quarterback who's 41 and playing pretty darn well in the league.
Quarterback
in Tom
is
Brady.
different.
Certainly different in that position when you're going to get hit a little more. But yeah, you tell me which one you want to put on the field, and I'll throw my money on. It would be T.O. over Jerry Rice. But again, there's 14 years difference in that age. I mean, what do you say? Jerry Rice, one of the greatest ever. I don't get it. I don't understand.
He didn't go out the way he wanted to go out. And
no.
Look, and T.O., people forget he retired as a Denver Bronco. He wasn't going to be their 4th receiver in training camp in 2005. Jerry Rice, yeah. And Terrell Owens tried to make it as a Seahawk his last season.
Right.
And he dropped some passes and was cut. I mean, you're cut for a reason, okay? You had your chance. It didn't work out, and we wish you all the best in the world. But let's just not say that you can do these things coming back. By the way, have you seen this video of this dog in Madrid?
I have. It's unbelievable.
It's insane. A policeman, it's a police dog.
Right.
And it's a training exercise. And this policeman falls down on the ground in Madrid, Spain. And this dog comes out of nowhere and starts jumping up and down on his chest, doing chest compressions. Basically giving CPR to save the policeman's life. It's unbelievable.
It's just stunning to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the training, and he's training for it. So to actually jump up and then kind of rest his head on the head or the neck of the person, and then jump up and down
the pulse
on the truck.
I think he might have been checking the pulse.
I don't know.
It's unbelievable.
Seriously, is that what it's unreal.
Yeah.
I mean, Have we ever seen instances of where that's like worked?
No, but I want to believe that dog could do it.
I mean,
the world we live in, I need to know that dog could do it.
I mean, you said it before on the tees. Dogs are the best. We don't deserve dogs.
Correct.
They're the greatest thing out there right now. And if a dog could actually perform CPR on somebody and save them, I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Just another stratosphere you put them in.
Exactly right.
Wow.
All right, when we come back, more on the coach of the year that was fired twice. And what about LeBron? Stay with us.
I don't know how else to say this, so I'll just say it.
What is it, Linda?
I think we should see other people.
Are you breaking up with me? On a roller coaster?
Well, we do have a lot of fun. Maybe we should stay together.
An emotional roller coaster? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
I just need a little me time.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Is your home an ADT home? If not, listen up, gang. You need to get ADT to help protect against break-ins, fire, and even carbon monoxide. And now, for a limited time, get ADT's lowest rate, starting at just $28.99 a month from the most trusted name in home security. That's just $1 a day. You spend way more than $1 on your morning coffee. ADT is the first security company to help keep you safe at home and when you're on the go with the new ADT Go app. ADT Go has some great features like family locator, private messaging, automatic check-ins, and safe driving reports. It even includes an SOS button with 24/7 emergency response. And if you need more of a reason to buy, you get ADT Go with a purchase of any security system. Seriously, guys, it's a great deal. Protect yourself and your family right now. Go to ADT.com/podcast to take advantage of ADT's lowest rate. ADT, tested, trusted, proven with 36-month monitoring contract. Early termination and installation fees apply. Excludes taxes and fees. Applies to traditional services only. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com. To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com. Listen up, people. We got a big favor to ask, and we promise it won't take too much of your time. You know our show is supported by some fantastic sponsors, right? Well, we'd love to hear your feedback. Head to ESPNpodcaststudy.com and fill out a short, anonymous survey. That's it. We swear. No more. Again, that's ESPNpodcaststudy.com. Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News and the ESPN app. Glad you're with us on a Tuesday morning, presented by Progressive Insurance. Phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike Golic, Trey Wingo here with you. We will have Brian Windhorst, our NBA insider, and Cleveland Cav and LeBron insider extraordinaire Brian Windhorst. Talk a little bit about what's going to happen by Friday. Again, LeBron has to decide whether or not to opt out of that contract and salary for next year in Cleveland, or will he be moving on? We'll get into that in a little minute, but I want to finish up one thing we were talking about last hour about Jerry Rice. Mike,
okay, yeah.
With the idea of him coming back to play at 55. He thinks he could still do it. Or at least he said he could. I don't know if he actually feels that way, but he said he could.
Right. Said he could still get 80 catches and all that. Yeah.
But I'll never forget the way his career ended. This was in 2005 in training camp. He was with the Denver Broncos. People forget he had been signed by the Denver Broncos, and then he realized that he wasn't going to stay on as their fourth receiver for the Broncos in 2005. So he called this hastily made press conference to announce his retirement. Well, this is like a week before the season started in September 2005. And, they weren't prepared for this. It wasn't going to be like this big elaborate send-off like you saw the Broncos do with Peyton Manning after he won Super Bowl 50 in March of 2016. So they just sort of got this thing together and sort of gave him a room. And there were the assorted media members there that covered the Denver Broncos on a regular basis, and they were all asking him questions. And then like 10, 15 minutes into it, they said, yeah, we need to speed this up because we need this room for team meetings. I mean, it was a most ignominious ending to arguably the greatest career of all time. But that's what happens. I mean, that's how, unless you're one of the rarefied rare, you don't retire, you are retired.
Yeah, listen, and some get to walk out, with the trophy held over their head, or walk out on their own terms if they want to. Most don't. And when that's That's the end for arguably the greatest player of all time in the NFL. Can you hurry up because we need the room?
We need the room. We need the room.
Is really just amazing.
And the other thing that I'll remember about that was Darren Woodson, who works for us, played for the Cowboys, and played against Jerry Rice all those years in the 90s. It was his first day at ESPN, and he was supposed to observe. That was his whole thing, just to observe and understand. And then Jerry Rice retires. Well, now everybody wants to have Darren Woodson on the show. On every single possible platform you can get to talk about Jerry Rice. Well, now, they asked Darren to do what's called an instant analysis, which is, I think, for analysts coming off the field, it's the hardest thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
You know about it.
Absolutely.
You basically stare into the camera and give your opinion or your take for 30 seconds with no question or answer from a host. You just stare. They say, go. And I'm telling you, God bless Darren Woodson, we went through 37 of those. I mean, it was I kept telling him, you're going to be fine. This is the hardest thing for anyone to do because, you're just looking into a camera. You've never worked on television before, really, and there's no host there working with you to share it. It's just an instant analysis from somebody that played. We went through 37 of those takes before we finally got one that was about 30 seconds that was actual English.
Yeah, well, welcome to ESPN.
I was
welcome
like, throw you into the fire, baby.
Yeah.
He looked like a beaten man. I was like, it's going to get better. You're going to do fine.
Again, this is based off the body issue that Jerry Rice was in at 55 and an article that went along with it where he says, I feel like today if I wanted to come back to football and play football, I could do it. I could come back and catch 80 balls and really be productive on the field. He said also in this article, I went out and I practiced with the 49ers team last year. The young guys could not believe that after playing a game for 20 years and being out of the game for 15 years, that my body knew what to do, that I could run routes, that I could catch the ball, that I could beat them off the line of scrimmage and do all the things I think that really impressed them. But because I never got out of shape, my body just knew what to do the second I put the football shoes back on. I mean, I can see all that.
Right.
The guy always kept himself in shape, and you look at his body, it looks fantastic, and he talks about keeping himself in shape. But, I guarantee you that wasn't a Wednesday practice in pads either. Yeah. So
now go get hit 5 times.
Yeah, I mean, that's just his body may feel like that, but boy, after a short while, his body would feel a whole lot different to get hit again. You know, to account for that part of it.
That's exactly right. At the end of the day, it's one thing to work out. It's another thing to be beaten.
To get hit.
On the field. Yeah. And then see what happens and how your body reacts. So again, Jerry, we love you. You sure didn't retire the way you should have. We miss you. There's no chance you could play at 55. All right, let's get into what's trending. And we start with the World Cup. Hey! Argentina will advance to the knockout stage of the 2018 FIFA World Cup with a win over Nigeria today, 2 o'clock Eastern. And Croatia win or draw against Iceland, 2 o'clock. A loss or a draw would eliminate Messi and company from competition, while it will come down to tiebreakers if both Argentina and Iceland win. And it could be the final game for Messi, Mike, who is on a massive scoring drought in the World Cup.
Yeah, he really is. It's been brutal. He hasn't scored in 647 minutes of World Cup action. That's the longest drought of his World Cup career. The thing I like today, again, 2 games at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Denmark and France is at 10 o'clock, and Australia and Peru at 10 o'clock, and then 2 games at 2 o'clock, Iceland, Croatia, and as you mentioned, Argentina and Spain. And basically, only Peru is out.
Yep.
And Croatia and France are in. Everybody else is playing for something. They can still get to the next round. We already know of, after yesterday's results, Spain and Morocco tied 2-2. Uruguay beat Russia 3-0. Russia is going to play Spain, and Iran and Portugal tied 1-1. Saudi Arabia beat Egypt 2-1. We know Portugal is going to play Uruguay in the next round. So we're starting to get things solidified a little bit here.
A little bit, and again, in the standings right now in the World Cup, I had a big day yesterday. I had a win and a draw, so I have 30. Junior and Devin have 26. You're right behind them at 25, and the staff is miserable at 20.
Yeah. We got to think. We got to
it's a 3-person
get
race.
Something for the winner, and then we have to make the losers do something, and that would be the staff again. They always lose.
Yes, and they're
losers.
We appreciate their efforts, but they're now 10 points behind the lead.
Yep.
Also, in what's trending, this is the second time this has happened. Dwayne Casey has picked up another Coach of the Year award for what he did in Toronto. In fact, it was such a good year that Toronto fired him.
I mean, it's the coach's vote. That's the earlier one he won, was Coach of the Year.
Correct.
And now he is NBA's Coach of the Year. And he said once you get fired, it's not a good feeling when someone, after you have a franchise record, and they let you go. That's the uneasy part. Say, okay, something must be wrong with me, but he's going into Detroit. I mean, it just blows my mind, but, it's not the first or last time we're going to see something like this, but amazing. Here you are, Coach of the Year 2 times. You won 2 different Coach of the Years, and your team fired you. A team, by the way, that can't do anything. Correct. They're basically handcuffed with what they can do. So basically, it's the same team that they had last year, but they fire the coach and think that's going to make the difference off a franchise record number of wins.
Yeah, the weird thing about this is he's already been hired by the Pistons. So he gets up there to accept the award as the coach of the Raptors, but he's already now the Pistons' new head coach. The whole thing is just absolutely bizarre. It makes no sense. Yeah. So congratulations to him. And again, the Raptors have 3 50-win seasons in franchise history. All 3 of them coached by Dwayne Casey. Yeah. I'm not sure you can say it's his fault that his stars froze down the stretch in that 4-game sweep against LeBron.
But again, this was one of those, I think they felt like they had to make a change to make a change. Just say, we're getting close, we're not getting over the hump. Something's got to change, not getting rid of some of the top players here, so we'll make a switch at the coach. And, okay, looks really good right now, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't in any way, shape, or form. And we'll see what happens going forward with him and the Pistons, but know that even though he got fired, 2 groups of people think he did a really good job for Toronto, which would be his other coaches.
Yeah, some hardware.
And everything else. All right, what everybody's talking about is brought to you by Lowe's. Pros in the Nose start with Lowe's. Go to lowesforpros.com. Mike, we are in full LeBron watch.
Yes, we are.
There's no doubt about it.
From the beaches of L.A. to Houston. From Boston to the Bay. And to Cleveland. This is LeBron Watch.
Again, we have to know by Friday. Oh, sorry about Cleveland.
Yeah, whatever.
We have to know by Friday whether or not he's going to opt out of that contract and seek new employment. So for more on that, let's bring in our ESPN NBA insider, Brian Windhorst, who joins us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Hey, Brian, before we get to the LeBron watch, Harden won the MVP. Simmons won the Rookie of the Year. Did you think both of those were the right choices?
Yeah, that's how I voted. I had a pause. I think we talked about it.
Yeah, we did.
Because I know that LeBron historically is one of the greatest all-time players, and he's now not won an MVP in 5 years. And I don't think that that's right, but I had an MVP vote in all 5 of those years, and I don't think I voted for him. The MVP is awarded for play between October and April. And for various reasons, and I agree with those reasons, LeBron doesn't expend all of his energy in those months and doesn't always play his best in those months because he's saving it for these playoff runs. And I think it's a smart decision. But, empirically, when you look at everything, James Harden was the MVP this season. I agree with the result, even though that historically I have a hard time with it. But that's just part of the game.
As far as the look of Dwayne Casey, wins the award last night for Coach of the Year. The coaches also voted him Coach of the Year, and the Toronto Raptors fired him. What does that look say to you?
Well, when I was a kid, I was growing up in the Cleveland area, and I thought the Cavs had a great coach in Lenny Wilkens, arguably one of the greatest coaches in the history of the NBA. Unfortunately, he played at a time where even though he had 3 All-Stars on his roster, Larry Nance, Brad Daugherty, and Mark Price, 3 of the greatest players the team had in their history, they happened to play in the same division as Michael Jordan. And 3 times they went into the playoffs, and 3 times Jordan sent them out. And it wasn't because Lenny Wilkens didn't know how to coach. It was just because he didn't have Michael Jordan. And I remember the Cavs fired him for no other reason than he just couldn't beat Michael Jordan, as far as I remember. I mean, I was in 8th or 9th grade when it happened. And the Cavs went for another decade without really having an opportunity to compete at the highest level, actually more than that again. So Brian, it reminded me of that. Dwayne Casey got fired because he happens to play in the same division or conference or whatever as LeBron James, no other reason.
Brian Windhorst with us. Brian, I want to go back to the LeBron MVP thing just for a second, and then we'll move on. Because to me, I think you could make a very compelling argument that this might have been LeBron's best season. I understand what you're saying about him sort of reserving energy in the regular season, but look at the numbers he put up and the different castmates that he put around him, and what he was still able to do and be available in all 82 games and have the numbers that he put. To me, I thought this might have been the best season I've ever seen him play in the regular season.
Trey, I could show you data and some play that he did in January that was unbecoming of a player of his level. He was essentially pouting, trying to force the Cavs into trades. And, you could make a strange argument that forcing the Cavs into making trades was an effective way of leadership. It wasn't the way that you want to set an example. But some of the things that he did for that month or so in January were really not who he is as a player, and really were not his proudest moments, in my opinion. There were games where he let go of the rope and let it go, and you can't just ignore that. Those games happened. They were within the framework of the regular season. I understand that in the grand body of work that they were a relative blip, but they happened. And I can't, as a voter, ignore that and pretend that they didn't. James Harden was sensational on the team with the best record from October onward. And LeBron played better in the playoffs than James Harden did. Donovan Mitchell played better in the playoffs than Ben Simmons did. But when we voted in April, we had to vote on that body of work.
And again, Harden is the winner last night. We talked about some of the other winners who it was their night last night. LeBron was not there because he was on vacation, and he went on vacation earlier than he normally does. So, Brian, explain why all that is taking place.
Well, my feel, guys, and I'm going to be very careful in what I say here because there's only a couple of people in the entire LeBron universe who truly know what's going on, and those people are being very selective in how they talk. But let me just say that LeBron's schedule is planned to be a little bit earlier than it was the last two free agencies. My expectation is that he will not let it go out to July 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. Now, having said that, events could happen in the next 6-7 days that force him to push that decision back. But my understanding and my belief is that he's going to go a little quicker here. He has his reasons for doing that. But I would expect, on or around July 4th, we're going to know what LeBron's going to be doing. And last time, in 2014, he was in the Caribbean. I think he was in Nevis on July 4th. So going a little bit earlier supports my hypothesis there, and we'll see whether I'm right or wrong.
All right, Brian Windhorst joins us, our NBA insider. So, Brian, we decided this obviously is the summer of LeBron and LeBron Watch, so we like to spin the wheel to find out where he's going to be. So we want to spin the wheel, and we've had some people make some cases for certain teams, and we want to give you your thoughts on it, all right? Let's first and foremost start with what a lot of people are saying, that LeBron is going to end up in purple and gold with the Lakers.
Lakers, LA's front office can work its magic and create up to $70 million in cap space to sign both LeBron and another max free agent while keeping Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and Kyle Kuzma on the team.
How do you feel about that scenario?
I think if he selects the Lakers, he's wagering on the Lakers' history and the city of Los Angeles to help that team build into a championship contender. And that's not the worst wager in the history of the game.
Okay, now let's spin the wheel and find out that it stays where he is.
Cavaliers. Cleveland can offer more years and more dollars to LeBron than any other team, and they don't need to move anyone to do it. Plus, they have the 8th pick in the draft, which could be a trade piece or a young blue-chip prospect.
Thoughts?
I think guys, I really think when this comes down to it, LeBron's going to have to sit there and look at, do you have a better belief in Cleveland's future or the Lakers' future? That's what I think the ultimate decision is going to come down to. And I don't think the Cavs feel really good about their position. And I'm not basing that on anybody telling me. I'm basing that on their actions. Because if you look at their actions for the last 11 months, they are making decisions like they expect LeBron James to leave. And maybe that's smart. Maybe that's setting themselves up to move on and not be in the abyss. Maybe that's, stupid. Maybe they shouldn't do it that way and they should milk every last drop. But to me, the Cavs organization seems to be more prepared for LeBron to leave than many of their fans are. And I know that LeBron sees that.
Brian, is there a potential, we keep talking about multi-year deals either in Cleveland or somewhere else, that he just opts in for this year and does this all over again next year?
You know, I think that there's a reason why he's left that option open and not declined it yet, Golic. I don't think he'll go that route because it really doesn't really change that much. For San Antonio, in my mind, there's only 5 places he can go. L.A., Cleveland, Philadelphia, San Antonio, and Houston. I think those are the 5. You may have a dark horse in there, like a Dallas or something like that, but I really think there's only 5 places for him to go. 3 of the places he can sign outright to, Philly, L.A., or Cleveland. And the only places you'd really need a trade would be Houston and San Antonio, and he would be in the same boat whether he opted in or out. He would have to force a sign and trade as opposed to a straight-up trade if he opted in or out. So I think it makes more sense for him to be able to frame his contract. The only reason that he would opt into that contract would be because he wanted to protect his no-trade clause. He's got, no-trade clauses are very valuable in the NBA. They're hard to get. They're hard to qualify for. You have to play for the same team for 4 years to do it. And let's say he wanted to keep it. He could pick that up and then force his way. Even if he wanted to go to Los Angeles, he could force a trade there, and that would enable him to port his no trade out there. But other than that, I don't think there's a lot of functional reasons for him to pick it up at this point, and so therefore I don't think that he will.
All right, Trey, spin the wheel.
One more time, Brian. Here we go.
All right.
76ers. Philly already has maybe the most intriguing young core in the NBA with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and the Sixers could add LeBron without losing any major contributions from its 52-win team this past season.
How intriguing.
See, I disagree with that. I think that they could add LeBron and they potentially would lose a lot because they would lose J.J. Redick, who's their best shooter. And I don't think Philadelphia is a great fit. Because if you play with LeBron, you need to be able to shoot, and you need to be able to play off the ball. And they have a couple of guys, their 2 number 1 overall draft picks the last 2 years, that can't shoot and need the ball. That's Markelle Fultz and Ben Simmons. I don't know how those 2 are going to play together long term. The second thing that's the issue is that if Joel Embiid was to play with LeBron James, he would have to significantly change his game. LeBron needs to have space to drive. He wants his big men in the corners. He wants them spacing the floor. I think they'd be tremendous defensively. LeBron and Joel Embiid, with Embiid at his back, would be awesome. But offensively, I don't know if Embiid's ready to do that. I haven't heard him say anything that he is. So I don't think Philadelphia, from a basketball standpoint, is a very good fit at all. I think LeBron is intrigued by them because they have a really interesting team and they have lots of options. And I also think Brett Brown is really well respected by players in the league. But I don't know who's going to shoot the ball. I don't know how it all work. That to me would be fascinating. I'd love to hear from somebody with the Sixers organization to tell me what their pitch is about how they think those players are going to work together.
I 1,000% agree because you look at it and you say, oh my God, all this young talent, this is going to be great. But then you think about it, you're exactly right. You need shooters. We're going to wait around for Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz to become shooters.
Yeah.
It could be 40 by then and, retired.
All right, Brian, we got to let you go because we're running out of time. But right now you'd say the clubhouse leader is?
I'd say 51% LA, 40% Cleveland, 8% Philadelphia, 1% Field.
All right, so you're telling me there's a chance it's Cleveland.
Did that even all add up to 100? I don't even know. That was impressive.
Let me just tell you, I couldn't tell you because
it's my understanding that there would be no math.
Yeah, exactly
but you
right.
nailed that. Brian, we appreciate you getting up this morning. Thanks, pal.
Thanks, Brian.
Take care, guys.
He's the best. By the way, when I said let's spin the wheel one more time, he's like, all right.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think he really wanted to go on the ride.
Was he done with our childish games?
Yes, he was like, I don't think so.
Hey, sorry, Brian, it's June.
Brian, it's June. By the way, we'll do this probably again before Friday at midnight, just pointing that out. All right, so here's the real question, Mike. Is today perhaps the most meaningful day in the history of Lionel Messi's career? We'll get to that.
Is your home an ADT home? If not, you have to get ADT and help protect against break-ins, fire, and carbon monoxide. For a limited time, get ADT's lowest rate starting at just $28.99 a month from the most trusted name in home security. Go to ADT.com/podcast to take advantage of ADT's lowest rate.
With 36-month monitoring contract, early termination and installation fees apply. Excludes taxes and fees. Applies to traditional services only. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News and the ESPN app, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. You can hit us up on Twitter at Golic and Wingo or leave us a voicemail, 860-506-5505. Okay, we are all into the World Cup around here, so much so that we have our own special music whenever we talk about it. Hey! So to get more information about what's going on in the World Cup, we are delighted to be joined by ESPN FC analyst Shaka Hislop, who played in the 2006 World Cup as the goalie for Trinidad and Tobago. And first of all, Golic and I are both infatuated by this. Is there any more lonely feeling in soccer than being the goalie in a PK situation, right? That's got to be the worst.
It's not bad. As a goalkeeper, you can only be the hero in a penalty situation. So that's a good place. It's probably the only time you regard as a hero.
And the reason we brought it up, I was talking to him, now we get into the knockout round, so no more ties, so we get into 30 extra minutes after the game, and then penalty kicks. And that was my thought to you. I mean, I guess that's a good way to look at it, because can anybody ever be mad at you if you never stop a penalty kick? I mean,
as a goalkeeper, no, that's a great situation to be in. The players are expected to score. The goalkeepers, whatever save you make, how many ever you make, that's a bonus. So you're regarded as a hero. So it's a no-lose situation for goalkeepers in that circumstance.
So I'm fascinated by it. I know Trey is as well. Just take us through it. What are you looking at? What are you trying to pick up tells from the guy? What goes through your mind right before the kick?
You're looking for a number of tells. Now, during the regular 90 minutes, normally the best kicker steps up. Normally you have a lot of research on that kicker, which side he prefers to go to, where he scores, does he go high, does he go low? When you get to the end of extra time and it's 5 kicks, there's normally number one kicker and 4 others who don't normally take penalty kicks, so there's not a whole lot of research.
So you don't know a lot about it.
So you don't know. So you're looking at their body language. You're looking at their eyes. Are they looking one way or the other? And if there's simply no giveaways, right footers like to go to the goalkeeper's right, pulling the ball across them, left the other way, of course. That's kind of your fail-safe and your go-to if nothing else gives them away.
And you're just diving one way or the other no matter what.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And hoping for the best.
Yeah. Dive and hope. I mean,
that sums it up perfectly.
Yeah. Listen, by the way, you're staying for the rest of the show. I just want to hear Shaka Hislop talk with us the rest of the show. Our fine FC analyst, of course, who played in the World Cup for Trinidad and Tobago in 2006. Okay, we'll get back to yesterday's game, send some controversy in the video in a minute. But we have a major, major milestone coming up for arguably the best player in the world. That's Lionel Messi. He has gone scoreless in 647 minutes in World Cup. He and Ronaldo both came into this World Cup with that but philosophy.
Yeah.
They're great players, but they've never done it at the World Cup. Well, Ronaldo has been great so far, despite the punch in yesterday's game, but he scored 4 goals already. So he sort of established himself, and Messi is still searching. How important is this game for him to come up and make sure his Argentinian team wins and he gets a goal?
Yeah, well, the thing is, for Lionel Messi, he came into this tournament, many feeling he's the greatest of all time. And that's been the rhetoric around Lionel Messi for quite some time. The issue is, not even in Argentina he's regarded as that, because Diego Maradona won the World Cup in 86, got them to a final in 1990. And he comes in with a pressure that Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't have. He's already regarded as the best Portuguese player ever. Luis Figo coming in second. And And as a result, you look at Lionel Messi, his body language in an Argentina team that on paper probably have, if not one of the best teams in the tournament. But throughout the qualifiers, throughout this tournament, this Argentina team have been anything but. They've relied on Lionel Messi to get them through the qualifiers, and now look to Lionel Messi to get them deep in this tournament. And at this level, against some of the opposition that they've had to face so far, one player isn't going to do it all on his own.
So I have Nigeria, so I'm just going to say Nigeria is going to beat Argentina today and put me in. So if that does happen, what does this do for Messi's legacy?
I think it damages his legacy. In 2014, Argentina got to the World Cup final. Lionel Messi was crowned best player of the tournament, though judging his play during the tournament, I thought that was very generous of FIFA.
I like the way you put that.
Yeah.
Very generous.
but now people are looking for Lionel Messi to win it. Now, I'm in the camp that to be regarded as the greatest player of all time, you've got to have at least won the game's biggest prize at least once. Lionel Messi hasn't won the game's biggest prize at least once. And as a result, you feel that he needs to get this to convince the naysayers like me. But Lionel Messi, now in his 30s, the next World Cup is not going to be for another 4 years. You don't see him being the same superhuman player that he is right now. If he can't get it done now, I don't see him getting it done in 2022. And unfortunately, he goes the way of great players like a Johan Cruyff back in the 70s and early 80s, won everything there is to win for club and almost country. The only prize they're missing was a World Cup, and as a result, finds himself in the also-ran category.
All right, so Shaka Hislop, our ESPN analyst who played for Trinidad and Tobago in the World Cup in 2006, is here with us. Who do you think wins that match today, Argentina or Nigeria? Nigeria's been pretty good.
Nigeria have been very good, and they're a team that come into this without a whole lot of expectation. Argentina, as good as Nigeria have been, I think this is about Argentina, about the pressure that they're under. Not just about Lionel Messi or the other players who've been failing, but their coach, Jorge Sampaoli, who's under immense pressure. By all accounts, rumor has it that there was a dressing room revolt. The players are all upset with Sampaoli, not convinced of his leadership. Speaking of which, I don't think Argentina have any natural leaders on the field. This is one for Nigeria to upset the card. In sport, as we all know, when you smell blood in the water, you take advantage of it. And I think that's the position that Nigeria are in. Know that Argentina have problems. Know that they don't have a whole lot of answers for those problems. And they get the best of them.
So one thing that's new to this World Cup is video replay.
Yeah.
So that's going through. We've seen it quite a bit yesterday. We've seen it quite a bit through this tournament. So your thoughts on it, are they going through growing pains or are they getting it right?
They're going through growing pains, but expected growing pains. Now, coming into this tournament, once FIFA announced that they would be using video assistant referees, I thought this was a little bit too soon. For a little bit of context, VAR has been used in 8 domestic competitions throughout the world for a year, no more than 18 months. And I just thought that was too soon to get to understand VAR, the pros, the cons, work out the protocols for the tournament. But then FIFA took the unprecedented step of announcing rather late that we're going to use it. Again, the thinking is maybe in 4 years' time, it'll be a little bit too late, or, we could force it onto everybody now. But saying that, the way it's been employed in this tournament, I thought it's worked very well. Yes, there have been issues, but there are issues once humans are involved, you're going to have issues. You're going to have people disagreeing with what the referee has to say, whether they go to video or not. So that is part and parcel. But there are a lot of big decisions that maybe would have gone the other way that have been overturned, that have huge impacts. Just on the face of it, Spain had a goal where the linesman had his flag up, would have been disallowed. Spain would have lost. As a result, VAR comes in, turns it over, Spain draw, now find themselves playing against Russia in the next round as opposed to against Uruguay. That's big. Yeah. If Spain want to go deep in the tournament. Uruguay are outstanding. Russia the host, yes, they're through, but they haven't been great. Now, these are big decisions that, human error would have gotten wrong, and you would just have to kind of take it on the chin and move on. I just feel all that's at stake in the game today, referees need help. And they're getting.
So you do say they need it. I mean, because there's a lot of people that say just live with the human error, but you say let's get it right.
No, I say let's get it right. I prefer to have a right decision after 2 minutes than a wrong decision after 2 seconds.
Okay, Shaka Hislop joins us in the studio giving us the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts. Now we get to the most important thing. We did a fantasy draft.
Yeah, we did. He was checking it out.
Yeah.
Break. He was looking at it.
I'm in first place here.
I see that, Trey.
I'm feeling pretty good because Spain is through, England is through.
Yeah.
I feel very confident that Mexico's going to make it through to the knockout round. They're not officially there yet, so I've got at least
Quit trying to make
3.
your case and let the man
be
just
quiet.
answer it.
I've got at least 3, and I could still sneak in either
Whatever.
Iceland, Japan, or Australia.
Oh.
So you got to like my chances, right?
I do. You've got great chances.
Yeah, baby.
England have been playing really well. Spain are through. Mexico have been upsetting the apple cart. You're looking good, Trey.
Yeah, come on, Shaka. Preach to people. Let's go.
I have 3 in right now with France, Belgium, and Uruguay. I can get Nigeria in today. That certainly could help me. But I'm not as confident as I once was, though. I like the way Belgium is playing.
But Belgium are playing really well. Poland are all.
Oh, I mean, killing me.
Poland have been so disappointing. France have 6 points, but they've not played particularly well. Yeah. Uruguay are going well. They have what it takes to maybe go deep in this tournament. As much as I'm backing Nigeria to upset Argentina, I'm not sure how much deeper they're going to go. Micah, I'm not sure if you're going to leave.
Are we finding out about... I'm not listening to you right now. Are we finding out a little bit more about Russia and their opponents early on, the way the goals they were scoring, the way they got shut out yesterday?
Yeah, we are. And in all honesty, the World Cup draws are almost weighted towards the hosts. Yeah. You are drawn in Group A, the opposition... You will get one big team, in this case it's Uruguay, and the other 2 teams normally far down the bracket. Right. That happens every 4 years. That's how it works. And to be fair to Russia, they came to this tournament. I didn't think they would get this far. I didn't think they would get out of the group. I don't think many of their fans did. But all of a sudden, you open the tournament against Saudi Arabia, who seem a little bit starstruck. Russia, buoyed by the emotion of the situation, score 5, and they start to believe.
Right.
And confidence and self-belief in this sport, in any sport, is huge. And you see that playing out in this tournament.
Yeah, Uruguay kicked it out of him, though, yesterday.
Absolutely. Yeah. But, by the way, I think he's the smartest analyst we've ever had.
I think you know what? I think it's time for him to go. That's what I think.
Shaka, man, we appreciate you being with us. Let's do this again.
Yes, absolutely.
We are into this World Cup like we shouldn't be, but we are really into this World Cup.
I'm going to keep an eye on these brackets.
Let's go.
That's what it's all about.
Everyone in the neighborhood knew about Bobby. Bobby, the basketball boy, they called him. Bobby wanted to go pro someday, so he was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. But one day, his mom came out and told him,
"Hey, your wife wants you to take out the trash?"
His mom was visiting, and Bobby was a grown man. He had kind of missed his window. Plus, no one had ever seen him actually make a basket. But on the other hand, Bobby had heard how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. So it was all good.
Golic and Wingo, presented by 1-800-Flowers.com. Surprise a friend or loved one today with a bouquet from 1-800-Flowers.com. When you order a dozen multicolored roses for just $29.99, you're going to get another dozen absolutely free. Just go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN.
Golic and Wingo with you, and Mikey C, Outdoor Mike, pulling a little Babe O'Reilly from The Who. Nicely done. Mm-hmm. Nicely done today as we get back in. All right, we just had our retreat at Pinehurst, our leadership retreat.
Golic and Wingo Leadership Retreat.
Which, by the way, I brought in the trophy.
Again, for those, we'll get a picture of this for those just listening on radio.
Championship.
The trophy is here. Yeah. It was broken. It was glued back together.
Yeah.
We do have it on set. Trey won the first ever Golic and Wingo.
The annual. We're calling it the annual now.
The annual. We're going to try to. It's exactly right. It's a great time again. Just fantastic job out of everybody here at ESPN and Pinehurst. Couldn't have done it obviously without them, and they actually want us back, which is stunning.
Yeah, that's the big win. Is that they actually said, "Yeah, we want to do this again with you guys."
I mean, the second shot of the first hole, I ordered 16 beers. I thought I was going to get kicked off at that point.
And you finished them all, which was good.
They weren't all for me.
Sure, they were. Okay, you're right. 12 of them were for you. So, but the point being is, you know that I'm golf guy.
You are a golf guy.
I love golf.
Yes, you do.
I am all in on golf. But while I am golf guy, I'm not air quotes golf guy.
Okay.
In other words, viewers used to be able to call in.
Which was a joke.
It was the stupidest thing of all time. And say, hey, that guy broke a rule. You need to check that out. Which was so wrong on two reasons. One, get over yourself. And number two, if this happened to somebody else and it wasn't on TV, then this guy's at a disadvantage because he happened to be shown on TV.
There would be no doubt in my mind that if it turned out that somebody who actually did that was actually a friend of mine, they would not be a friend of mine anymore.
Correct. That's a line of demarcation. So what they got, the golf
rid of that.
Has gotten rid of that. But then this weekend, over the Players' Championship, however, TPC River Highlands here outside of Hartford and Cromwell, Connecticut, won by Bubba Watson, who shot a great 63.
Yes, he did.
On Sunday. During Saturday's coverage of the Travelers' Championship, cameras caught Bryson DeChambeau, who won at the Memorial, has the jaunty cap that
he does all
the time, employing a compass during his walk around River Highlands.
A compass.
A compass.
Like the Boy Scouts when they go out into a compass. You learn to use a compass.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure is that compass or it's a compass that, with the circle with the pencil and all that kind of stuff.
A compass that tells direction.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think it's that compass.
What compass is it then?
It's the kind of compass that has a pencil on it and spins and does angles. So I think they might be the same, but I'm not sure. So anyway,
I have no idea.
There's a picture of him using this. And then he got a call from the PGA Tour. He said they want to let you know we're investigating that device and seeing if it's allowable or not after his 268 on Saturday. And DeChambeau said it wouldn't be the first time that this has happened. So he says he uses the compass to determine true pin locations, noting that they are off every so often, the 24-year-old remarked. He's been using the tool in tour events ever since 2016. He says it's been in use for a long, long time. People are saying that it's an unusual device. At least that's what the tour is saying. He went on to say, it's funny. People start taking notice when you start playing well. So what?
It looks like a protractor.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But
so when you said compass, I was immediately thinking he was trying to see what direction.
I did too.
It's a protractor.
It's kind of like that with a compass.
Okay. All right.
So he's just trying to log devices.
Right.
So the rule that he might be in violation is 14.3, which bans the use of an artificial device or unusual equipment for the purpose of gauging or measuring distances or conditions. That's why the pros can't use the rangefinders like we always use. Which, by the way, why shouldn't they be able to use the rangefinders? If everyone else wants to know the exact yardage, shouldn't they know the exact yardage as well?
I agree with you
Separate
there.
issue entirely.
Seems
However,
so.
all right, so going forward then, so he's potentially in violation of this rule. However, the use of a compass in Rule 14.3 is actually addressed in the rule book. Correct. So a player using a compass during a stipulated round to help determine the direction of the wind or the direction of the grain, is he in breach? And the answer is no. So even in the rules, they're saying he's not breaking it. So why is this an issue? Golf, get out of your own way. We're back after this.
Why are they calling it a compass?
Everyone in the neighborhood knew about Bobby. Bobby, the basketball boy, they called him. Bobby wanted to go pro someday, so he was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. But one day, his mom came out and told him,
"Hey, your wife wants you to take out the trash?"
His mom was visiting, and Bobby was a grown man. He had kind of missed his window. Plus, no one had ever seen him actually make a basket. But on the other hand, Bobby had heard how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. So it was all good.